Hi everyone, I'm Nisha Fernanda from Sweet Delights Cakery. Today's tutorial we are going to be making a three-dimensional pumpkin cookie, and the whole idea behind it is this right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to be forming these circles that's actually making the shape of the pumpkin with cookies along with the center, and then we're going to be decorating it with royal icing. So enjoy the tutorial. So I'm ready to make my cookie cutouts, and I have my already chilled cookie dough. I have right here 1/4" slicing guides that I'll be using to roll my cookie dough with. If you don't have these, you can simply use like a 1/4" dowel that you can put on either side. And I'm also using parchment paper to roll on just because it's easier and than rolling it on the counter where it could be a little bit sticky. I'm going to be using a base scraper and a pizza cutting wheel to trim out my cookies. And this is my cookie template that I'll be using, and the cutter I'm using is 3¼ inches, I believe, of the shape, and you can adjust the size to your needs. Whatever that you have at home should be fine as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dust the parchment with some flour, and I'm taking my cookie dough, which is ready to go. And I like to dust on the top as well. And then you want to sandwich with the top of the parchment paper that I have here, and you want to have these little slicing guides also underneath. And we're ready to roll. Looks good, and we are ready to do our cutouts. What I would do is just put a little bit more dusting powder, but just check the bottom side, and I don't think it's that sticky, so it should be okay. But I like to dust my surface a little bit so it's already prepared when I put it onto a pan, because this needs to be frozen before we bake. So this way, it's kind of prepared already, one step done. So you want to take your round cutter, and we're going to need 8 cutouts to make the pumpkin, but I would suggest to make at least cut 2 extra just to be on the safe side. So you're going to make your cutouts, and I'm just going to do one here just to show you what you're going to do. So when you have your cutout, you need to take your template, or you can eyeball this as well, but you want to make sure that each one is the same size. So you want to kind of place it on your template. This should be just an approximate, and then you can take a piece of wheel and just cut off that extra. Okay, so that would be one of your cutouts. So you want to make 10 of these, and then I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to do the center cutouts for the pumpkin. You are also going to need a base, and this is totally optional. You can skip this part as well, but it would be nice to have a kind of a base for the pumpkin to kind of sit on. That would also give more support to the cookie. So I have here a 5-inch circle that I actually use when I bake cakes, but this is a great cutout as well. So I'm just gonna make one cut out from that, and one should be enough for that. So this is about a little bit less than an inch in diameter, so you want to cut about at least like 12 of these just to be on the safe side, because we're going to be stacking those up, and you're just going to do the same way and make cutouts like this. So when you have all your cutouts ready, what you want to do is you want to take a pan, line it up with parchment. You can dust, you know, we already have this dusted on this side, but we don't have enough dust on the bottom, so I have dusted my parchment as well. And then you're just going to take these and then put them on the tray. I like to use the bench spray, but it's very easy to kind of pick up the cookies. And then also the little small circles will go on here, and you can do like layer this, so you can fill this up and then put another parchment paper on top, layer it, and then cover it with cling wrap, and then refrigerate, not refrigerate, actually freeze this. And you need to freeze this at least 3 to 4 hours, and then when you're ready you can put it in the oven and bake these cookies. So I'm ready to start decorating my cookies. I have my baked cookies here. I have some royal icing that is like flood consistency, and I have got a cup of water here. I have a brush, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip my cookie so this whole edge over here is going to be covered with royal icing, and then I have to let this dry for a couple of hours before I start decorating on my cookie. So let's get started. And then you want to slowly put it on a tissue and start tapping it, and try to get all the excess off the cookie. And if you see any areas that, you know, the royal icing did not cover, you can just take your brush and just apply a little dab where it's needed. And then you can go around with your brush, and I'm going to actually get my brush a little bit soaked with water and just clean the edge all the way around. Okay, you want to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, and then what I do is I keep this upright on my cookie tray and let it dry, and whatever the remaining will basically drip down to the sides. Just check it like in 10 minutes, and then, you know, if there's any dripping you can just clean up with your brush again. So I'm ready to decorate the top of the cookie, and I have some orange and some yellow. This is more like 6 to 10 second consistency. I like my icing a little bit on the runny side. So I'm gonna start by making my outline. this dry overnight before you begin the next step. And then what we need to do is we need to flip this over and then do the same thing on the other side. So I'm back with my circle cutout cookies here, and this is actually going to be the stem of the pumpkin, and I'm going to dip it in some royal icing, and this is really thin consistency. It's thinner than flooding, as you can see, and you want it to be dripping like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little needle tool and take one of the cookies and just kind of poke into it, so I have something to attach it into like that. And then you're going to go ahead, I'm going to tilt this so I can get everything into one area, and just dip it. You don't need to cover the back of the cookie because anyways it's going to be covered when we stack it up. So just take the excess off, and then you can place it on a cookie rack for it to kind of drip down. And what I suggest you do is just pick it up and put it on the rack, and it'll finish dripping. And you just want to continue the same process to all of your little circles. If it does go in, you can just poke back in and get it attached to your needle tool. Okay. So you want to let these dry also at least 12 hours or even more. You can check on them and see when they are ready. So this cookie here is going to be the base for a 3D pumpkin cookie. So I'm going to decorate this with some black and yellow, and we're going to try to do a little spider web on here. And the icing is in it's a 10-second icing, and I have attached tip number 2 to the yellow and tip number 3 to the black. And I also have my little needle tool close by because I'll be needing that as well. So I'm going to start by making my outline. Okay, and now we're going to take our yellow and we're going to draw some circles. So let's do the outside circle first. then the inside, and we'll probably do one more. That looks good. And what we're going to do is, I think I'm going to let's see, that looks good. I don't need to do anything. So you're going to kind of again tap it. Just touched it. Just want to make sure you're not going to touch it, so be very careful and tap. And then you're going to take a needle, so you want to come from the center to the outside. Okay, and you want to do the same thing on the other side. And I'm going to do half and then quarter it. Go on 1/8. Okay. There we go. It gets a little confusing as to which direction to go, but this is what you want it to look like. And now you want to tap it again. And I have my brush here with some water, and you can kind of take care of these peaks. Oops, that was not meant to be. Okay, you can still use your brush and kind of save it. Actually, I'm glad that it happened, so I can kind of show you what to do. And you can put a little dab of icing right here and just pull your needle through just one more time. Okay. And kind of fix it. Okay, so let's clean up the corners, and then we are going to tap on it a little bit more. Okay, and then keep tapping it, and that should, or even shake it, and that should take care of those heavy lines that's in there. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to go and just clean up it just one more time. But remember, we are going to have it covered, but I just like it to be a little bit neater. Okay, that looks good all the way around. So that's your base of the cookie, and then later on we are going to make some fondant leaves for a pumpkin, and then put a whole cookie together. So we are ready to coat our cookies, and what we're going to do is we're going to coat the sides of the pumpkin with some yellow sugar, and we're going to do our base all the way around with some black sanding sugar. I also have here some piping gel that I'll be using. So you want to first, I have my yellow sugar right here. You want to take your pumpkin cookie, and you're going to apply some piping gel on the edge. All the way around. Make sure you put it nice and thick, because you want a nice thick layer of that sugar to be attached. Okay, and then you're just going to dip your cookie in the sugar all the way around. You can kind of go back. Make sure that everything is coated. So it just gives a light hint touch of orange because the orange we have colored underneath, so it kind of pops up with the yellow, and it kind of looks pretty cute. So you just want to continue doing this to all your cookies. Do one more of the yellow sanding sugar. So again, you're going to apply the piping gel. All the way around. And then you're just gonna dip it or roll it on the sanding sugar like that. Okay, and then if there's any spots that you feel like just went too much, you can just wipe it off. You can even use like a tissue and just go in and wipe off. So continue all your pumpkin cookies with the same technique, and then we are going to do the base with some black sanding sugar this time. Okay, that looks good. And then you want to kind of let it sit. So we're ready to make the leaves for the pumpkin cookie, and I have here a ivy leaf cutter. It's a plunger cutter, and I got some green gum paste. I have my cell pad, my balling tool, my foam that I'm going to thin the petals in, and this is going to be to dry the petals on. So I think 2 leaves should be enough, so I'm just going to roll this out. And you want to go about 1/16 of an inch when you're rolling this. You don't want it too thick. And you're going to cut 2 cutouts. Okay. So actually don't forget to press so you can get the veining, which I forgot to do. So I'm just going to make another one. Okay. So the leaves, they are a little bit, the shape of the leaf is a little bit similar to the ivy leaf. So that's why I chose to use the ivy cutter. And all you're going to do now is you're just going to thin out the petals a little bit. Give it some movement. kind of elongate them so it doesn't look like ivy petals, but more like pumpkin petals, pumpkin leaves I mean. Okay, like that. Okay, and then you want to let this dry. On your foam. And we're going to have them kind of standing up, so that's why I'm kind of keeping them in an angle. And I think I'm going to make just one more, just for emergency. So this extra one that I cut out, I'm just going to kind of place it back on my cutter here. There we go. And then I'm just going to make my veining. So again, I'm going to thin out the edges. Okay. And let it dry. So we're ready to make some pumpkin vines, and I have one made here, and this needs to actually dry a couple of hours till it's steady enough to put it on your cookie. So I'm going to show you how to make this, and you don't need a lot of these. 2 of these should be enough for your cookie. So you want to take some gum paste again, and you want to roll this into a long, kind of like a snake. So just make it elongate. And you want them a little bit thin, not too thick. Okay, that looks good. And I'm going to cut this off, and this is about 6 inches in length. You don't have to make all of them the same length. I would have, you know, some a little bit longer than the others, just to give some variation. So you're going to take this rope, and you're just going to kind of go on your brush. I'm just going to kind of move this to the side. Hold it, and then just keep wrapping. Okay, and then you kind of want to have some direction to both ends, like that, and you want to let this dry. So I have my greens, my leaves, and my vines here, and I have some petal dust. This is an apple green, and this is a dark green actually. I don't have the name for this because it's been ripped out of the container, but any type of dark green will work fine. So what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to put some of the green, the lighter green, apple green, on my leaves. I'm kind of going with the vines here. It's already lighter green there, but just want it to shade a little bit, so I'm not doing it everywhere, just here and there. Now the back is going to be covered, but I like to kind of do the same thing on my back, just in case, you know, it does show. You want it to look the same. So let me just go ahead and give some color to this. and then we're going to come back and put some of the dark green on it. And I like how these leaves are curled up, and that's exactly what I wanted to have them do. Make it more natural. So let's get the dark green. And again, you want to just touch of it, so hint it like just here and there. Okay. Don't forget the back. And the vines, you want to just do it very slightly because you don't want to break them, and you want to have a little bit of the lighter green on them, so just very little of the dark green goes on the vines. And so I have my center stem right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of grate it a little bit and try to even it out on the edges and on the side, and I'm using a fine grater. And what you want to remember is you don't want to grate too much where it's gonna, the thickness is gonna go away, so you're just going to kind of grate just a little bit at the bottom, and then just do a little bit on the sides where it's not even. Now we're going to be stacking these up, so keep your grater close by, because in case if it's not stacking up straight, because we have this top over here that might not be very even, you can grate just a little bit on the top. Now the center is going to get covered when you stack your next piece on, so you're not really going to see the center but only the sides that you need to worry about. So just if it's not straight, any of these, you want to just grate it just a little bit on the top as well. So I'm ready to put together the stem of the pumpkin, and I have already shaved off the little cookies here, and I'm using melted chocolate as my glue. You can do royal icing, it just takes a little bit time for it to set. So I'm using I'm using chocolate, melted chocolate, so this will go a little bit faster and it's a little bit more sturdier. So what you want to do is you want to put just a little drop. Now remember, the chocolate cools really fast, so you might have to go to the microwave a couple of times. So you just put a little dot, and you want to place one of your circles in the center, and then you want to put another dot, and you're just going to stack them up as you go. And if anything seeps through from the sides, you can use a brush and kind of wipe it out. Make sure that nothing is seeping, and you want to make sure that it's straight, it's going on straight. So every so often just turn it and make sure that it's straight from each side. I'm just going to check the height one more time. 3 inches. I'm going to bring one of my cookies. Now some of these really didn't bake, you know, when you do 8 of them. Sometimes they shrink a little bit, so some of them are a little bit small in size, but you're not really going to see a big difference when you put it together. So just pick the largest cookie that you got there and then go by that when it comes to the height. And as you can see, when I place this, it's right on the top right now, so I want it just a little bit high enough so I can attach my leaves and my wines. So let's try to do maybe another 2 more and see how it goes. So just keep in mind the very top one, I haven't shaved on the top because I want it to kind of look really nice. So just make sure that you have room for that one. So I attach one. I'm just going to check it again. Okay, and if I place this last one up here, how does my height look? I guess maybe I can go one more. So you kind of have to, you know, play with it and see what looks good. Okay, that looks good. I think that height is good. So another thing that you can do is, now that you're doing the last couple of them, just tilt it, angle it just a little bit so it has that pumpkin shape kind of. Well, of course it's going to fall now because we haven't attached them, but just have them a little bit going towards the outside. Okay, so I'm just going to angle it out just a little bit, and the next one a little bit more further out, just to give it a little bit of movement. Okay, so that is done, and you want to let it set just a little bit before you go along and do the rest. So I'm ready to attach my pumpkin cookies, and what I'm going to do is I have some chocolate melted again, and I'm going to take one of them and kind of see where the points that it's going to touch. So the side you have to put chocolate, and then also a little bit on the base so that it will get attached. Okay, so let's put some chocolate on the side. Now keep a brush close by because you're going to need it to kind of clean out the edges. And then some on the base. I'm kind of eyeballing right now. So you're going to place it. And kind of let it set. And it will take a while. While it sets, you can kind of take a brush, and if you see anything, any imperfections, you can kind of nicely clean it out. Okay. Give it some more time for it to set. Oops, we don't want anything falling off. Just felt a little bit loose, and I see where it got loosened, so I'm going to take my icing and just put a little bit on that base there so it will set. And now you have to kind of keep holding it till it dries. Now try not to move. Okay, that looks good. And I'm just going to clean the edges off the pumpkin. Looks good. You're going to turn it slowly. Check on the sides. Everything looks good. And we're going to do the pumpkin cookie that's right across. So that looks good. Alright. So you're going to take another one, and you're going to put some on the side, just as we did with the first, and a little bit on the base. right across. Make sure it's touching all those points. That's very important. If there's any icing seeping through on the base, you can just kind of wipe it off, which I'm doing right now, because you don't want to take too long to wipe it off. So our pumpkin is almost done. It just needs his little final touches. And I'll be back with the leaves and the vines to attach to this pumpkin. So we're ready to add the leaves and the vines, and I have kind of placed them how I like them, and I'm just using like 2 leaves right now, 2 and 2. So you just want to put just a little bit of chocolate. You don't want to put too much because you don't want it to show up. So I'm gonna start with this back leaf and just put a little dot and place that leaf right there. Okay, and I'm going to place this one, some chocolate, this just a little bit on the edge, kind of stick and stay. This one I have some more chocolate, and I'm going to place that in here so it's standing upright. So there you go. This is a 3-dimensional pumpkin cookie, and I hope you enjoyed our tutorial. Stay tuned for more tutorials, and don't forget to click on that subscribe button. Thank you.